Good morning, guys. We're all set up for our Hatha class. So roll out your mat or find the space in your home that you're going to be able to move through this practice with me. Maybe grab that towel if you want to pad your knees just to put it underneath for a little more comfort. And let's get to it. So to begin, we're going to start in our child's pose. Let's bring your big toes together. Take your knees as wide as the mat and just drape your body across your knees. You can bring your hands into a diamond shape above your head. Your elbows are wide. And we're just going to breathe here. Let's take a deep breath in together and out. Once again, a deep breath in and out. Continue to breathe at your own pace. And as you focus on your breath moving in and out of your body, just kind of check in with your body. Do you feel any tightness in your shoulders? Maybe in your low back or your legs? And what I invite you to do is send the breath in the direction of the tightness. Let's begin to deepen our breath a little more. So let's inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, and exhale for 1, 2, 3. Again, breathing in for 3 and out for 3. Again, in for 3 and out 3. Continue to breathe at this pace. Let's really focus on making our inhales and our exhales the same length. And with those inhales, let's send the breath to our low back. Really filling up our lower back with nice, fresh, cold air. And as we breathe out, just feel your body surrender to the floor. Let's take one more breath here. And out. Now with your next inhale, let's come up a little and just take our hands to the right side of our mat. We're just going to have a little side body stretch here. Continuing to breathe. Only now we're going to really root that left hip to meet our left ankle. And we're going to send the breath into our side body. You may feel a little tightness, and that's normal. We're just introducing some breath into places that maybe haven't had it in a little while. One more big breath here. And as you exhale, let's walk gently to the opposite side of our mat. So we're stretching to the left now. And we're going to root that right hip right into our right heel. Deep breath in. And send all that air to our right side body. One more deep breath. And as we exhale, we're going to come back to center. Let's plant our hands and come up to a tabletop position. So what we want to see here is our knees directly under our hips, Hands under our shoulders. And really make sure we're balancing our weight on all 4 points here. Let's push into that mat just to ground through our hands and knees. And take a deep breath in, filling up all 4 corners of your body here. So as you inhale, you're going to feel your shoulders expand, your left and right hip expand, and just fill with breath. As you exhale, just let it all go. Really try to knit the ribs in or kind of engage your core just to really have that strong flat back as we breathe in and out here. Last breath here. Next, we're going to move through a few cat-cows. For those who are relatively new, feel free to peer up and take a look. This may feel a little different at first, but it's a really good way to lubricate your spine. So with our first inhale in, what I invite you to do is dip the belly, really arch the back, shine your heart forward, pushing into the mat with your hands, shine your heart through your arms, and kind of put your tail or your seat in the air, kind of like you're a cat curling under here. And we're going to take a deep breath. One more deep breath here. And as we exhale, we're going to counteract this pose now. So dip your tail, arch your back, and let's tuck our chin into our chest. This kind of gives you that Halloween cat that you'll see. And just breathe here. So let's try to match our inhales and our exhales with movement. So on your next inhale, we're going to dip back into an up cat, really shine the chest forward, drop the belly, send your seat high in the sky. And as you exhale, round through the back, dip the chin, tuck the tail. Inhale, chest shines forward. Exhale, round through your back. Inhale, chest comes forward, dip the belly. Exhale, round, tuck the chin. Let's move through a few of these at your own pace. Really try to match your inhales and your exhales with movement. And if it feels good for you, you can play around with your up cats and your down cats. Maybe shake your seat out or twist through your shoulders, whatever feels good for you. One more here. Deep breath in. Chest comes forward. And exhale, round. Good. Now let's come back to a tabletop. Maybe sit back on your knees for a second. Shake out those wrists. Sitting that way doesn't always feel great. Good. So let's come back to our tabletop. From here, what I'd like you to do is really suck that abdomen in here, okay? This is really going to help us with our balance. And let's take our right foot, extend it long behind us. So as soon as you lift that leg, you're going to feel your belly kind of drop. So really tighten in there to get your flat back, protect your low back. And point those toes directly at the floor. So you're going to feel kind of an energetic pull on the inside of your thigh to really turn those toes to face down. And just take a few breaths here and see how you feel now that you're on 3 points of foundation instead of 4. And just breathe here, trying to keep those abs in, keeping that toe flexed, pointing to the ground. And if you feel ready, let's bring the left hand and take it in front of us. Now, if that doesn't feel good for you, again, these are just suggestions. So feel free to stay on 3 points of foundation and really focus on that back leg and tucking those abs in. But if you want to try something a little more difficult, bring your left arm high. And what we're trying to do here is really get an energetic line from fingertip to toe and breathe into that line. Check back in with the abdomen, make sure it's tucked up tight. One more breath here. And as you exhale, let's sink back into our child's pose. Knees go wide, sending air into our low back. With your next inhale, let's come back up to all fours. Second side now, let's take our left leg long. Again, really activate through the thigh. Make sure that toe comes straight down and knit through the ribs. Tuck up through the ribs, push away from the floor, and breathe here. Again, if you feel ready, just lift the right arm, maybe raise your gaze a little, and try to find that energetic line. Foot through your fingers, and breathe. This is really encouraging you to activate the, right and left side of your brain. I'm really helping you with your balance as well as building a little strength. One more breath. And exhale, let's come back into our child's pose. Really fill that low back with breath. And as you exhale, sink into that floor. One more breath here. We're going to come back to all fours and we're going to move through our first downward facing dog of the day. So for many of you that are new to yoga, down dog can be kind of intimidating. Something to keep in mind, we're going to try to shoot our body essentially through our arms. So to give yourself a little more space, you can take your hands and turn them so that your thumbs are parallel with your mat. It'll just open your shoulders a little bit more. Also, if you have maybe a not so sticky mat, you could even hold the side of the mat just to give yourself some traction. So let's plant our hands. We're going to tuck the toes. And from here, I'd like you to try to just lift the knees. Okay, so we're not doing anything but lifting the knees on our toes. If at any point this doesn't feel good for you, just come back into a child's pose and just breathe. So we're going to lift our knees here. And what I'd like you to do from here is push away from the ground. So in down dog, a lot of the time, what we see with beginners is they think it's almost like a push-up, but your seat's high. And what we really want to do is act as though we have a rope right under our hips and we're sending our hips high just to get a little more space in our spine. So again, tuck the toes, bend the knees, and push away with your upper body. So keep your knees very, very deeply bent and send your upper body onto your knees. So if you're watching here, you can see my knees aren't straight, but what's important in a proper down dog is to get that spine straight. So we don't want to be up here kind of with a curved spine. We want a nice, long, stretched out spine in our down dog. So keep your knees bent and just see if you can find some stillness in this dog and really breathe. You'll notice with your knees bent, it's much more active through your upper body. It's kind of like a upper body exercise if you have your knees bent. So one more breath here. And as we exhale, let's rock forward to a plank. So again, with those planks, we want to make sure we're activating everything. Really shoot through your heels, engage your hands and your core, and just take a breath here. Good. Drop to your knees and come to lower to the mat in one straight line if you can. Tuck your arms really close into your side body. Click all 10 toes into the mat here. Engage the back of your thighs so that your knees actually come up. And when you feel ready, shine that heart forward, lift your gaze, and come into a little baby cobra here. And just breathe. Again, really drawing those elbows into your body, raising those knees off the ground. You're kind of pushing your pelvis into the mat and engaging the backs of your thighs. So it almost feels like you could lift your feet to kick yourself in the seat, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to have the action through and shine our chest forward, lift our gaze, and breathe. Good. Now with your next deep breath in, we're going to move back into another down dog. So for our beginners, let's come up, maybe move through table. You could just come up to your knees, tuck those toes again, put your hands where you think they'd be comfortable, and send the seat high into another down dog. Again, knees very deeply bent for today. You can play with straightening out your heels if that feels good. One more deep breath. And on your exhale, I want you to you can carry your step, your right foot to meet your right thumb. So bring it up in between your hands here. We're going to drop the back knee, and we're going to come into your version of a low lunge. So there's a few ways we can do this. We're going to keep our knee over our ankle. We're going to engage our abdomen. You can have your hands just here on your hips, or you can take a deep breath and circle them down, around, and up, and kind of bring in that sun quality, that active strength in your upper body. Really open across your chest and lean into that low lunge. We're going to take a few breaths here. One more deep breath. Good. Let's drop the hands. We're going to curl the toes under and come into another downward facing dog here. Push back, knees bent. We really want to prioritize length in our spine. Deep breath in. With your next inhale, let's rock forward. We're going to bring the left foot forward now. And as you can see, my upper body is much shorter than my lower body. So if you need to make a few adjustments, that's fine too. Drop the back knee, and we're going to do low lunge second side. Hands on your hips, or feel free to inhale and spiral the arms high. Knit those ribs in, really tuck in the abdomen, and just breathe here. With every inhale, you can kind of feel yourself growing taller, and as you exhale, see if you can really surrender into that lunge. One more deep breath here. Good. Let's release the hands. We're going to come back into our second to last down dog. So if it's starting to feel intense, that's okay. Again, straight through the spine, bend those knees. Deep breath. One more deep breath in. And as you exhale, let's rock forward to our plank. Wrists under shoulders. Really shoot some energy out that back heel. Drop the knees. And try to lower in one straight line all the way to the ground. Tuck those elbows in. Click all 10 toes into the mat. Knees come up as you shine your chest forward with a deep inhale. One more deep breath here. And as you exhale, let's move through our table pose. Tuck the toes. This is our final downward facing dog. Really see if we can find some stillness here. Breathe deep. Now let's slowly just walk our feet up to meet our hands. It may feel a little awkward. Come up on your tips of your fingers if you need to. And what we're going to do here is just come into a simple fold. So you can grasp either elbow. Again, keep those knees very deeply bent. And just let the upper body and the weight of it hang to the floor. Just a few breaths here. Drop our hands to the mat. And with our knees staying very, very deeply bent, we're going to just roll up to standing. But we're going to take our time and we're going to go one vertebra at a time. So really round through your back, keeping your knees bent. Rolling. Your head will be the last to come up. Straighten those legs. Good. So if you want to stand long ways on your mat here, we're going to take our feet nice and long. We're going to face both of our toes outwards. We're going to drop down into a goddess pose. So lunges and squats target the largest muscles in our body. So if, again, at any point this doesn't feel good, just come out of it and just focus on your breath. So let's take our feet wide, drop our seat. And what we really want to try to do is keep our knees back in space. Don't let them collapse forward. Keep your knees as far back as you can. Lower as far as you can while still kind of pretending you're leaning against a wall. So you don't want to come forward. You want to make sure you have integrity in your spine and drop the seat while maintaining a straight spine. Let's bring our hands to prayer here. Feel free to close your eyes if that's something that feels good for you today. And let's breathe together here. Remember those deep inhales. So you can breathe in for 3, 2, 1, and out for 3, 2, 1. We're going to stay here for 5 cycles. You're going to feel it. So really remember to root through your feet. And when you start to maybe feel a little shaky, take a deep breath in and send the breath where it needs to go. 2 more breaths here. 1 more, you can do it. And let's come back up to standing. Oh, you might feel a little shaky in the hips there. So let's take our feet parallel with each other. Your toes are going to face forward. Just make sure they're nice and even. And what we're going to do is turn our right foot forward towards the mat. Keeping your back one parallel to the back of the mat, we're going to point our right foot forward. We're going to come into a warrior 2 here. So just bend into that front leg, knee over ankle. And something to remember in warrior is you're going to have the tendency to turn your hips, but warrior 2 is actually a posture where your hips are squared here. We're not going to turn them forward. We're going to really try to focus on opening this hip and keeping them squared. So if you are a beginner, feel free to just leave your hands right here on your hips. And again, you're pushing through the back edge of your foot and your front foot equally, okay? This is a really good example of the sun and moon qualities we work in our body. We're really active and strengthening through the legs. And we're going to take the arms wide here. And you can even turn your gaze to come over the front hand. And we're going to try to be very, very soft in the heart, very light. And just take a few breaths here. And as you breathe into that front leg, remember to make sure those hips are squared off. 1 more breath. Good. Let's straighten that front leg. You can bring your hands to your hips if they aren't there already. And let's turn our toes to face the same way again. So from here, let's take a deep breath, open across the chest, really bend into our back. And as we exhale, let's take a fold forward. We're going to stop halfway. We're going to have a flat back here, really engage through the legs. Hands stay on your hips. Take a breath here. And on your next exhale, just continue to fold to the ground. So you may need to adjust the feet just a little. And just enjoy the stretch. Wherever your hands are comfortable, they can be in front of you. You can be lower, higher, whatever feels good. And try to be really light in your upper body and strong through your base. Now we're going to get out the same way we came in. So let's bring our hands back to our hips here. As you inhale, let's rise to a flat back. We're going to stop halfway. Take a breath. And as you exhale, just come back up to standing. Adjust your feet if you need to. Warrior 2, second side. Let's turn the left toes forward. Same as we did the other side. Your back foot's going to stay parallel, and we're going to bend through this front knee. Again, as you bend, make sure you square those hips back off because naturally they're just going to try to follow the front leg. Square the hips. Hands come to hips or raise them high if that feels good. If you're choosing to take your arms high into your warrior 2, really try to square the shoulders off as well. So you might be a little crooked, and that's okay. If that's where it feels good to you right now, that's fine. If you can, try to make the effort to really have both arms parallel. Shoulders come down away from your ears, and just try to sink into that front leg. And breathe here. One more deep breath. Good. Let's come all the way back together. We can bring our legs together here, just hip width apart. We're going to take our hands and just clasp them behind your back. You can grab opposite elbows if you can reach. I have freakishly short forearms, so I cannot. But just clasp your hands together. And again, we're going to come into a fold here. So we're going to fold all the way to the ground. Feel free to bend your knees if that's what feels good. And maybe wring the shoulders out a little bit as well. Don't forget to breathe. Feel free to release your hands. Bring them down to the mat just to steady you. And we're going to come around to a seated position here. So let's come all the way down to the floor. So from here, we're going to take our right leg long. We're going to flex through that toe. And we're going to take our left foot to come across. Okay, so if maybe you can't see from here, right leg long. And we're going to bring this one across. And what I want you to really focus on is making sure that that big toe is pushing into your mat. Don't let it come up. We really want to push through and root through that foot, okay? And what we're going to do while we sit here, foot flexed, foot anchoring down, picture your seat or your sits bones are also rooting down, kind of like a plant, like your roots are just going through the earth and trying to find something to grab onto, really root through your lower body. From here, we're going to take our right hand, whichever leg you have flexed, that's the arm we're going to use. We're going to take a deep breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to come to hug that knee and bring ourselves into an easy twist. So you can take the opposite hand behind you. And again, just wrap your arm around. You can be here, you can be here. It really doesn't matter. It's whatever feels good to you. And just breathe here into this twist. With every inhale, really try to get tall and find more space in your spine. And then as you exhale, you can knit the stomach in a little bit and see if you can maybe explore the twist a little further. One more breath here. Good. Now from here, we're going to release the twist and we're going to take our ankle to our knee here. Bend that right foot, plant that foot on the ground, and you're going to come into a bit of a hip opener here. So what I'd like you to do with your hands is have your hands facing the front of your mat. Okay? We're going to take this one over. Sorry. There we go. Both feet are really rooting through. So this one's flexed, that one's pushing deep into the ground, and we're just going to open our chest and get tall. And you're going to feel that open in your left leg here. So if you're a little more flexible, feel free to bring this a little closer. If it doesn't feel so great, move it further away. You're in charge of the intensity of the stretch here. So the closer that foot is to your body, the deeper the stretch is going to feel in your hip. Keeping that foot flexed. One more breath here. And as you exhale, just release both your legs. Maybe shake them out a little. Second side, left leg long, foot flexed, and let's bring our right foot across our knee. Again, sitting up tall so we can really root that big toe into the mat. As we inhale deep, take our left arm high. And as we exhale, come to hug that opposite knee. Maybe take your other hand behind you just to support your twist. Continue to breathe. Often when you're exploring these twists, when you go to take your deep breath in, you may feel that the breath kind of gets stuck in certain places. And that's what we're encouraging here. We're trying to get nice fresh breath in every little tiny nook and cranny of our body, places that maybe don't see a nice deep breath often. You know, we're hunched over our computers or, you know, laying in bed, and we're just not moving our spine and our body the way we should be. Another deep breath, get tall. And as you exhale, twist a little further. Last breath. And let's release both legs. Again, shake them out. Let's bring both feet to the ground now. Keep those knees bent. We're going to take our arms up high and just lean back in space a little bit. Really engage your abdomen here, and you'll feel a little bit of a workout. We're going to hinge at the hips here. If it's not comfortable, just keep your hands on the mat and roll slowly. Otherwise, if you want a little bit of a abdomen workout too, you can keep your arms high as you roll back. You can come to hold your thighs, whatever feels comfortable, and just come to lay flat on your back. Let's gather our knees into our chest for a big hug. You can hold above the knee, you can hold under the thigh, whatever feels good. Really get that low back to roll on your mat. Good. Now let's come into your version of a happy baby. For you new yogis, this is going to be probably one of the silliest postures you've seen. For our happy baby pose, we're going to take our feet high. If you're able to, grab the edges of your feet, either your big toe, the outside seam of your feet, even the backs of your thighs is fine. But we really want to try to get almost a 90-degree angle on the inside of our legs here and just open our hips a little bit more. And that's your happy baby pose. Again, it may feel silly in your body, it may look silly, but it's really allowing you to surrender with your breath and just be open and relaxed. Again, you can hold your shins or the backs of your thighs, whatever feels comfortable. One more deep breath here. Good. And let's bring the knees in. One more time, big hug. And just release your right leg down and your left as we prepare for our Shavasana. Shavasana is what we close our yoga practices with. It's really an opportunity for you to lay flat on your back, arms wide, legs wide, and just kind of let everything go and absorb all the benefits of your practice from today. So let's close our eyes. Let go of any particular breathing pattern you've been doing. Just allow your breath to come in and out, however it chooses. And as you lay here, really try to clear your mind. You can do this by focusing on the breath or turning inward and really focusing on your body. Maybe notice if certain parts of your body feel longer, maybe a little looser. Perhaps when you breathe in, the air travels more freely and it doesn't get stuck anywhere. When we lay in stillness, often thoughts pop into our mind. And what I invite you to do is picture those thoughts or to-do lists or criticisms even. Picture them like they're passing clouds. You see them, you recognize them, and then they just float by. We're going to lay here in Shavasana for about a minute. So feel free to let everything go and feel heavy on your mat and just surrender. And when you feel ready, keeping your eyes closed, just slowly start to wiggle your fingers and toes, introducing some movement back into your body. I invite you again, when you feel ready, just gather your legs back into your chest. One more big hug. And come to roll on the left side of your body. Just roll over and use your forearm as a pillow for a moment. Take a deep breath here. Again, eyes closed. And as you feel ready, push into your mat and just come up to a seated position here. You can come to sit cross-legged, whatever feels comfortable. keep your head low, just facing the ground as you're sitting here. And slowly kind of flutter your eyes open. Just slowly take in the room, your surroundings. From here, I invite you to bring your hands together at your heart center. Maybe push your thumbs into your sternum a little, really get those hands in tight. Let's take one more deep breath in together just to close our practice today. Deep breath in and out. Feel free to dip your chin just for a little extra length in your spine. And I just want to thank everyone for coming today to practice and giving yourself this time. Namaste. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. That's a pretty basic Hatha class. You can always build on that. It's a class you could do every day if you'd like to. And yeah, there'll be many more to come. So thanks again for joining and have a great day.